line so you can ask your question. So can I please have everyone practice raising their hands now by clicking on the hand icon? Okay, great. Give me one more second. All right, great. So it seems like pretty much everyone has got that. If you'd like to ask a question, you can also participate through the question pane. So if you'd like, you can type in a question in the question pane while we're going through the presentation, and I can read it out to the group. So all of the panes can be expanded or minimized by clicking on the plus or minus buttons that are at the top left of each pane. Now, in the past, we've had some audio trouble, so if for some reason you have trouble, you'll want to make sure that you're not muted on your personal phone, or you may need to enter the audio pin that was provided to you at the beginning of the call. In a worst-case scenario, you can always hang up and call back in to be sure that you enter the audio pin so we can hear you. And we'll get going now.
Great, thank you so much, Melanie. This is Sarah Hollister, Associate Director of Programs here at Achieving the Dream, and welcome everyone to the November Leader College webinar. We have a great dream sneak peek for you today, and we're also, so we're going to give you some information to help you plan your dream experience. And I'm sure you all know it definitely is an experience. It's incredibly valuable. And then after we give you some information about what to expect on different days, we're going to go ahead and get your input on how we can best facilitate some learning networks and learning events at Dream. So with me on the call today, I have with me, could advance the slide, Melanie? There you go. So we have our Senior Vice President, Carol Lincoln. Shortly, we will have Leslie Lapp, Director of Programs and Policy, joining us. Of course, I'm Sarah Hollister, Associate Director of Programs. We also have in the room with us Meredith Hatch, Associate Director of Programs, and of course Melanie, who started us off with our review. And finally, we're very fortunate to have with us Kate Doom Patel, who has been a consultant on Dream with Achieving the Dream, and I'm sure that many of you know Kate, and she keeps everyone on the straight and narrow and getting Dream ready. So we're very excited to have her, the brains behind Dream. And hopefully at some point, Stephanie Marshall, who is our events director here at Achieving the Dream, will also be joining us. And she, as well as Kate, have been instrumental to all the planning that is going on for Dream. So with that, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Kate to get started with our sneak peek.
Hi everyone, I hope you are doing very well. We're going to fly through some slides because it is information sharing, and I don't want to bore you. If I go too fast, you will have a recording of this webinar at a later date, and you can check back and see anything you may have missed. A lot of this information is also on the web, and I'll show you that in a minute. So Dream this year is going to be February 24th through 27th. As usual, our theme is going to be equity and excellence. We also have an additional focus this year. It's ATD's 10th anniversary. From 2014, 10 years prior to that, we accepted our first round of colleges into Achieving the Dream. And we'll be in sunny Florida near Orlando. And it's a beautiful picture. Next. So we're going to do an overview on Monday, the 24th. Usually we start Dream on a Tuesday, but this year we're shifting a day. So in your planning, please keep that in mind. Monday, the 24th of February, we're going to start with pre-institute workshops like we have in the last few years. We're going to run them from 9 a.m. to noon. Those that sign up for a 9 a.m. Pre-institute workshop get breakfast prior to that. Those that sign up for a 1 to 4 pre-institute workshop get lunch prior to that. And there is an additional registration fee for those workshops. Another change this year is we're going to do our opening dinner and plenary before our reception. So please plan to be there a little bit before 5, because at 5 we'll all be seated and start on our salads and such. And then after dinner and the plenary, then we're going to have a reception. We're going to have nice dessert. My colleague Stephanie is going to glam it up for us, so it should be a lot of fun. And we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. Next. So here's what is happening on Tuesday, the 25th. We're going to have breakfast. We're going to have a plenary. Then we're going to have a bunch of concurrent workshops. We usually have about 25. The Leader College presidents are going to gather for a meeting with Carol Lincoln, and the rest of us will be doing the Emerging Ideas Exchange. More on that later. Then we're going to have lunch with the plenary. At the same time, the presidents are going to gather again with Carol and have their own lunch and their own meeting. Then we're going to have more concurrent workshops while the funders meet. And to round out the day, we're going to have around 7 spotlight sessions, and then we'll adjourn for the day. Next. Wednesday gets a little more interesting because we're doing something new this year. This year we really wanted to focus on developmental education and college readiness. We also wanted to have workshops that are longer than 75 minutes focused on college readiness, so people can really, I know there are tons of metaphors that I could use right now, but can really learn about a specific strategy or intervention. So that's why we have 2 columns here. Everyone's going to go to breakfast and have the same plenary. The plenary is tentatively focused on college readiness to kick us off. Then on the left-hand column we have the regular dream track, which we anticipate most participants will go through. On the right-hand column we have the college readiness track or developmental education track. Most of us will be doing about 25 concurrent sessions and then be participating in birds of a feather. Those that decide to go on the college readiness track will have their own concurrent sessions that are much longer and will run until lunch. We will all have the same lunch, the same plenary during lunch, and then most of us will be going to concurrent sessions. They're 75 minutes, and then however, those in the college readiness track are going to go to their own concurrents if they choose, and those concurrents are going to be much longer. The rest of us get a little break in there. That's why the college readiness sessions. And then we all have spotlight sessions. There will be spotlight sessions on college readiness on Wednesday. So you don't have to sign up for this track. You don't have to pre-register or anything like that for this track. You just go to whichever session you like the rest of Dream. On Thursday, our last day, we have breakfast followed by a plenary, and that's going to be our student researchers, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then we're going to, as usual, go into team time or cross-team talk. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then we'll have boxed lunches so that you can go to the airport and take your lunch, and we adjourn. So that's our overview. Next. And I encourage you to write questions in your question panel or box there, and I'll answer them as we go. So I'll hand this back to Sarah.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Yes, if you have questions at any point throughout the webinar, it's probably easiest while we're doing the presentation before we get to the discussion section, if you want to just type them into your question pane, and we can go ahead and get the rest. I'm just going to take a quick moment to talk a little bit about the special meetings that we have for some of our grantee colleges. I know the majority are leader colleges, so I want to just go over what we have planned. Our Catalyst Fund grantee colleges will have a special pre-institute workshop session on Monday, February 24th from 11:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Our Press for Completion grantee college meeting will be held during the normal DREAM schedule, most likely during the Birds of a Feather session. I know last year, all of my press colleges, I know that we had a pre-institute workshop, and this year we will not be having a pre-institute workshop. We wanted to be sure that you had time to go to the other great options that we have there. So we'll most likely be meeting during Birds of a Feather, but stay tuned for more information about that. Texas Peer Coaching Initiative colleges, or TPSI. We are looking into exactly when that will be. Again, it's likely it will be during the normal DREAM schedule, and if anything, it might be possibly a reception, right after the close of a DREAM day on Tuesday or Wednesday. But please stay tuned for that information, but we don't anticipate you needing to come in earlier or leave later for DREAM. Finally, the colleges that participate in the Bank of America Financial Empowerment Network, a meeting for that network during the Birds of a Feather session on Wednesday, February 26th. So obviously, if you have any questions about if your college is involved in any of these for special grants or meetings, feel free to always give me an email if you have further questions about it at shollister@achievingthedream.org. I'm going to turn it over to Meredith, who's going to speak a little bit about some of the special workforce meetings we have going on at DREAM.
Thank you, Sarah. So this is Meredith Hatch. I'm an Associate Director of Programs here at Achieving the Dream. I'm going to present for just a moment about some of the workforce and programs of study related sessions that we'll offer at DREAM 2014. We're offering a suite of different presentations. Some are the TACT Consortia, the C2C Consortia, which is led by Northern Virginia College, and also includes several other Achieving the Dream colleges. We'll have some special meetings at C2C, and we're very excited to bring the entire C2C Consortium to DREAM. We're also having as we've presented on previous Leader College webinars and as we've emailed you about, we have an open RFP for STEM regional collaboratives right now. Applications are due November 22nd, and we will hold a kickoff meeting for the selected STEM regional consortia at DREAM on the pre-conference day, which is Monday, February 24th. Now I want to talk a little bit about some of the concurrent sessions that will be related to programs of study, to workforce, and to TACT. We'll offer concurrent sessions such as towards achieving collective impact through college CDO job training partnerships. And we'll also offer sessions about applying for TACT grants. So now I'll pass it back to Kate to tell us a little bit more about what we're planning.
Thank you, Meredith and Sarah. So here you can see one way we lay out our DREAM, and there's a lot going on. It's always difficult for others to try to fit in extra meetings into DREAM because we just try to make it action-packed where nobody wants to miss anything. I know there's a lot to absorb in this slide, but we're going to move on just for the sake of time to get to some discussion. So next. So now that we've shared the overview, I want to share some specifics that have already been decided. Next. So here are the pre-institute workshop topics. I'll let you read those. These are Monday morning workshop topics. And I'll show you how these are also online with descriptions. So if you don't get it all, it's okay. Next, please. These are the pre-institute topics for Monday afternoon. And here at the bottom of the slide, you can see a URL. It's simply achievingthedream.org/dream2014. That will take you to our registration page, but don't let it fool you. It's not just all registration. It's got the full agenda that I showed you a couple slides back. It's also got all these pre-institute workshop titles and descriptions, and then also, of course, it has registration information. So if you aren't able to absorb all this, please just visit achievingthedream.org/dream2014 for further information. Next. So the concurrent workshops, we received a lot of great workshop proposals. They have been chosen. We had a group of reviewers from the network, from colleges, coaches, founding partners, and ATD staff, reviewed all of these proposals, and they have been chosen. The workshop submitters have been notified whether theirs was chosen or not. Right now we're in the process of editing and proofing titles and descriptions. We will post them soon on that achievingthedream.org/dream2014 site. That actually takes you to a site that, with a service, I guess, that we use to send information to you and to get your registration. So it's going to be packed with information by February. And then all the concurrent workshops as well as the rest of the workshops will be made available in the DREAM app. Again this year. It was very popular last year, and we are planning on including even more information in the app this year. So stay tuned for that. Next. So this is a snapshot of the registration page. All ATD core team leaders will receive, or have received, I'm not sure if my colleague Stephanie has quite sent it out yet, an email about how to register and how many complimentary registrations your college will receive this year. If you don't receive that email by the end of the week, please have your core team leader email events, that's plural, at achievingthedream.org, and I answer that email. I'll send it to my colleague Stephanie, and she'll make sure that your core team leader gets the email. We want to make sure every college gets this email. We don't want you to miss out. Next. So here, as you see, we've got a lot already decided for DREAM, but we're also still working on a lot. So we want to share those things with you. Next. And I'll hand it over to Carol to talk about some things that we're working on. Carol? Carol? Did we lose you?
I think we did lose Carol. I can go ahead and talk a little bit about what I think Carol wanted to say.
How about, Sarah, I could speak about the student participation, and then maybe we could come, and then we could come back to the president's meetings when Carol is able to get back on. So the student part, as you know, every year we try to involve students further in DREAM. And there are lots of challenges to this. We want to make it a very positive experience for the students and helpful to them, and as well as learn from them. So this year we're doing something different. We're working and we haven't gotten this set up yet, so be looking for more information, but we'll be recruiting about 8 to 12 students that want to spend a good amount of time researching ATD interventions at their own college, learning about Achieving the Dream, and doing quite a bit of research before DREAM. They'll be coming to DREAM, learning through the workshops, and we will have a mentor. We're working with Joy Hardiman to work with the students before and during DREAM. And then on the last day, the last morning, when we have a plenary after breakfast, there'll be Joy will facilitate a conversation with them where we learn about their findings and what they really think about our student success measures, where we might improve, and just hearing the student voices. So this will be very in-depth for them, but it also will be a great opportunity. I'm going to skip a little bullet there. We're going to have a presentation by the Disney Institute on leadership, which I think we all think students would really enjoy. We're trying to make it, we're thinking about making it a spotlight session so more than students can attend, anyone can attend. And then of course we're going to continue the tradition of having a student keynoter on opening night, and we'll talk about that in a little bit again.
Great, thanks, Kate. I think Carol was able to get back on. Are you there, Carol?
I am here. I'm so sorry. Just when Kate wanted me to talk, the whole thing died on me. I'm sorry.
Well, I covered the student participation, but I left the Presidents and Leader College Presidents meeting all for you.
Okay, thanks, Kate. The President's meeting is sometimes called the President's Roundtable, and this is the meeting where any of the chancellors or presidents of the institutions that are in attendance are welcome to come, whether they're in Achieving the Dream or they're just guests. This year, what we expect to be talking to them about is where the work is headed over the next 5 years. Achieving the Dream is going through an internal strategic planning process. We want to engage the presidents and the chancellors in a conversation about where they think this work needs to go in the future. We want to make sure that we have an opportunity to understand more clearly the kinds of challenges colleges are facing, the kinds of things they want support and help on as we all go forward together in this network. So that will be in the afternoon of the first full day. The other traditional president's meeting is for the Leader College presidents, your presidents. They will also have about a 2.5-hour period together that first morning. This year what we're going to do is we're going to focus our time on how the presidents can be more actively engaged in policy conversations in their states, how they can be talking about important issues from the college's perspective early in the conversation at the state level rather than being in a reactionary mode. We've had a couple of states where legislatures have particularly honed in on the developmental education challenges and have legislated reforms, presidents being able to really say what they think would be meaningful reform. So we want to have a conversation during that time period about how we can change that dynamic, how we can get presidential voices into policy debates much earlier than when decisions are being made by governors and legislators. And then I don't know, did you get a chance to talk about the workforce workshops, Kate?
I did not.
Meredith talked a little bit about
yeah, actually Meredith pretty much covered all of that material. I would just reiterate one thing that Meredith said before is Mindy Feldbaum, who has been a consultant to a number of successful TAC grantees, is going to do a couple sessions where she's going to give her best advice on how colleges can compete for the 4th round of TAC grants. Best that we know at this point, the 4th round will be the final round of resources that are being made available to community colleges. So this is going to be a great opportunity for anybody who still wants to apply for that to get some tips about how to be successful in their proposals.
Great. Carol, I have a quick question here that came in that perhaps Kate or you might be able to answer. It's about the student researchers and if they've been chosen yet and if there's a process that ATD has in place for going about and choosing those student researchers.
Thank you for whoever submitted a question. I always like questions. We do not have a process yet. We are working on it right now, and colleges will learn more about it in the coming weeks because we do want to go ahead and get those students chosen soon. But don't worry, you won't miss out, or you haven't missed out. This is a very sneaky peek because it was just decided.
There's going to be several different ways students are engaged this year, and Kate's gone through some of those, but we're also very close to releasing information about another student competition like we've had other years with T-shirt competitions or other kinds of things. So there's going to be, there is going to be something like that this year, and I suspect that what we'll be able to do is to at the same time release information about how you can give us nominations for student keynoters, how you can give us nominations for students participating in the research project.
And I should have the Disney Institute presentation on leadership. We are, like I said, thinking about making that a spotlight so anyone can attend. And that includes any students from colleges. You don't have to wait until a student gets accepted or wins one of these spots. You can bring your students with you. We even have a hotel night discount for students, and we highly encourage that.
The Disney Institute session on leadership, ordinarily if an organization were to set that up for themselves, they'd have to pay $10,000 for that institute. So we think this is probably going to be, it's only 90 minutes long for this particular session, but we believe it's going to be something that students in particular are going to appreciate a lot.
I'm ready for the next slide if we don't have any other questions.
Great. No, we don't. Go ahead.
So we have spotlight sessions on both Tuesday and Wednesday of the week, and here we're sharing some that have been confirmed. We're still working on lots of them. I'll let you read these. We don't have further information on the website yet, but once we get all the spotlight sessions confirmed and their titles and descriptions edited, they will be on that achievingthedream.org/dream2014. Carol, would you like to add anything, especially?
Yeah, well, thank you, Kate. There is one thing that this slide pops up for me is I noticed the final bubble on here says Leah Meyer Austin Award winner. And I just wanted to alert everybody, we have not yet released information about the award competition this year, but that's another thing that you're going to see in your email pretty quickly, maybe within the next week. We will be putting out an application. It'll be a competitive application as it has been in other years. We'll have a short timeline to it, but once again, we are going to be asking any of the interested colleges to apply for that award.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping you'd talk about.
Oh, okay.
Next, I think, unless we have any questions coming in. So now I will apologize for flying through those the information sharing. I didn't want anybody to get bored. But now here comes the discussion. So everybody get your fingers ready to raise your hand or to type in a question. Next, please. Next, and then I invite our other presenters to join in, chime in with me on these. So this is what we really want to discuss today. The first one, I mentioned before, we do want a student keynoter from one of our ATD colleges, and soon we'll be sending out an email asking for nominations. You hear it first. For videos of your students, it's very hard to judge who we want as a keynoter without seeing them in a video. So this year we're saying please send the video. If you don't have them already videoed speaking, you can videotape kind of a interview question and answer where they tell their story. We don't look for polished students. Polished, I guess, is good, but we really look for compelling stories and stories that will really reach out and make a difference in how we view our work. So if you have videos of students, or you want to create a video of a student and nominate them, you can send them to events, as plural, at achievingthedream.org. And if anybody has any questions, I think this might be a big question getter. Go ahead and send them in to us. If we don't have any questions yet, I'll move on to the cross-team talk. On the last day, we have breakfast and a plenary, and then colleges will have the opportunity to either come together as a team and or come together as a team with another college team. So we call it team talk or cross-team talk. And you don't have to choose one or the other necessarily. You can spend part of the time, and I think it's a little over 2 hours, so it's a significant amount of time, with your own team, and then part of the time talking to another team. And some colleges that, well, we've never had a great pickup on this when it's been voluntary, the cross-team talk. Folks don't really sign up for it. But those that do sign up for it and do the cross-team talk often say it's one of the most valuable times in all of Dream for them. So we're really encouraging colleges to sign up. We don't yet have a process or mechanism for that sign up. It may be as simple as email to me and then I make a list manually. I haven't figured out a better way to do it. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know. So as leader colleges, you have a great opportunity to, you can use this time kind of as a mentoring time, you know, as a leader college talking to a college that may be new to Achieving the Dream or isn't yet a leader college. You can check out the Interventions Showcase to see if there are colleges doing things that are similar to your interventions or strategies. You can talk with your coaches. Usually coaches in the past couple of years have been the catalyst for these matchups. They've been playing matchmaker and they do a great job. So please reach out to them and tell them if you want to participate in cross-team talk. And our coaches also talk to each other quite a bit. So if they don't have a different college they want to match you up with, they might reach out to some of their colleagues and play matchmaker that way. Do we have any questions on the cross-team talk or student keynoter?
Yeah, we actually do have a question about the student keynoter. Is there a deadline for submitting those emails, the videos?
There will be a deadline. I have not figured that one out yet.
Great. So stay tuned on that.
Yeah, we're trying to give you as much information as possible. Not all of it is quite figured out. That's why we're calling it a sneak peek. We know we want a student keynoter, but we don't have all the details quite worked out yet. So this is a definite heads up. And those of you that have been to Dream know how much a student keynoter can affect the rest of the week for us. When we had Toby, no, goodness, I can't remember his name, but I can remember his face. He was our first student keynote. Toby?
It definitely was Toby. I can't remember his last name, but it was Toby.
He affected the whole week, and for a lot of us, he affected many, many months to come. So this is a big deal. We take it very seriously. We want to get somebody that can really frame DREAM for us. And upstage any professional speaker we have up there, you know. I always enjoy that part a little bit, maybe a little too much. Any questions on the cross-team talk, working with coaches, or looking at the Intervention Showcase? The Intervention Showcase is online, is on our website, and it's very new. If not, I'll move on to the Birds of a Feather. We're going to do Birds of a Feather a little bit differently this year. We're going to collect topic ideas and create some of our own, and that's where you come in. And then we're going to recruit colleges that are already attending DREAM or plan to attend DREAM to facilitate the session on a topic that they're very knowledgeable about. I may have been a little confusing. So we're going to ask you, if you have topics that you would like to talk about during the Birds of a Feather, you can either type them into your question panel here and we'll note them, or you can send them to events@achievingthedream.org. And you can also note if there's a college that's very knowledgeable about that topic and you would like to see them facilitate the discussion, that would be great. We're going to take that list of topics, refine it a bit, and then we're going to find colleges and see if the representative that's knowledgeable about that topic is coming to DREAM, ask them to facilitate the session. And what that means is during Birds of a Feather, we'll have all these topics. If anybody that wants to talk about that topic shows up in the assigned room, we're not asking anybody to make a presentation. We ask the facilitators to welcome everyone, to explain the purpose of the session, and then to facilitate a discussion. And we want folks that are experienced in the room, because most of the folks that attend have lots and lots of questions but not many answers, because they want to learn about the topic. So we want to seed the room with these facilitators that are knowledgeable. So I invite you to send your topic ideas to us. Anybody have any questions?
No, don't think there are any questions here.
All right, we can move on to the next slide. It's about the Emerging Ideas Exchange. This has been very successful in past years, and we want to make sure everybody knows that they can reserve a table. Here are pictures from last year. We created this partly to counterbalance the workshop proposal submission process where you have to have data to back up claims of success. We wanted a time where anybody can share any latest breaking ideas. They may not have data for it yet. And so any ATD college that wants to reserve a table can do so. There's a link there when it says here. I apologize, it's a long URL, so we couldn't quite include it. Actually, I think there is a shortcut, achievingthedream.org/dream2014/proposals, and you can get to it that way. If you want to reserve a table, you just create an account and say what you're going to present at your table so that we can include it in the program, and the table is yours. It's not an application, it's a reservation type process. So we encourage our leader colleges to do that and share whatever is exciting going on at your campus. Next. So I'm really hoping we get some questions here. I always get a little disappointed when we don't have a lot of questions.
We're okay. No questions.
The email events@achievingthedream.org comes to me, and so if you have any suggestions or questions, you can send an email to us that way. And otherwise, I'm really excited about everything that's going on at DREAM this year. I hope other folks, once they learn more about what's going on, will get excited too. And I'm really looking forward to it this year. So I'll let others say if there are any final words.
Just have a few comments here that have come in, Kate. One, I think just a testament to the DREAM team, which is the team that organizes DREAM. Someone said that there are no questions because you've been so thorough. So I think we've been thorough in the presentation, but I would also say the DREAM team, which is the DREAM planning team, has done a wonderful job, and we're really excited about all we have to offer. There's also a suggestion that we've gotten for a Birds of the Feather session, which I'm just going to go ahead and put out there in case it gets anybody thinking about potential other topics. Jan Leiden, one of our data coaches, talked about doing a session talking about male students and engaging male students. I know that there are a lot of community colleges that are working in that area and have even created male engagement centers and programs at their colleges. So that's just an example of one of the types of discussion topics that we're looking to have conversations about during Birds of the Feather, or even potentially connect colleges that are all working on that during cross-team talk, or colleges that want to learn about how to do that and colleges that are already doing it. So that's just kind of an example there of the types of topics that we think will be great conversations and also be super helpful for colleges.
Sarah, this is Carol. We might share with the group that just on that topic in particular, there is going to be a plenary that Kay McClenny is going to lead. She's been leading a research project for the last several years on men of color, and she and several of the colleges that have been in that are going to present the findings and some of the challenges and tensions that have risen in that work. So that will be on the program, and the Birds of a Feather follow-up would be a great way for people to have more time to discuss what they've heard in that plenary.
Great. Thanks for that information, Carol. Are there any other topic suggestions or questions before we move on to our evaluation poll? We threw a lot of information at you, I realize, so I'm going to give you just a minute to think through before we move forward. Well, it looks like we don't have any other suggestions or questions at this moment. Perhaps you could launch the poll, Melanie?
Okay. Before we go today, we'd just like to ask you to participate in this poll so that we can continue to gauge how helpful these sessions are to everyone and improve upon them. So if you could please just select all the statements with which you agree, and we'll just give you a minute to complete that.
We only have about a third have voted, so I encourage you to place your votes. Polls will be closing soon.
Sarah, on the third bullet, I think we're missing a word. What do you intend that word to be? This webinar gave me new, is it
Probably
ideas?
information.
Okay.
Ideas. I see the poll only allows one response, but the header says to select all the statements. It seems as if we have a bit of a technology glitch with our poll this month. So we'll go ahead and let's share the results. probably works to our benefit because you can only show one. So it says that this call was useful and informative from 80% of the people. So I'm going to take that as a good sign and and run with that. So before we go, I do want to thank you all for joining us, and thank you for riding with some of our technology bumps at times. We will be posting the recording as soon as it's available, so you can go back and look at this information again. We'll also send out a follow-up email which will have the presentation, a PDF of the presentation, so you can get the information that way. So please be sure to join us for the next webinar, which will be on Thursday, December 5th, from 12:30 to 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm very excited about this webinar. We'll have Donna Smith from TG, which is Texas Guaranteed in Texas, with some of our colleges, discussing how to better integrate financial aid staff into the student success work at ATV institutions to increase, obviously, access, retention, and completion. We all are aware of the changing landscape of federal financial aid, so I think that this will be a very informative webinar. We will also be opening this webinar up to the entire network, so we hope to have a lot of folks on to have conversations. Before we go, I did also see a few last-minute questions and comments come in, so please be assured that we'll look at those and answer them or get them to the right person as needed. So also, I just want to thank all of our presenters, Carol, Kate, and the entire Achieving the Dream staff in the conference room here. We really appreciate everyone pitching in to give this dream sneak peek. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next month.